Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am here to do my monthly playing with new makeup video. And when I sat down to do this, I was like, oh, I have something new from every single category. But I have some fails from a couple of those categories. So I'm gonna talk to you about those products, but I'm not gonna use them. I'm gonna use something else. So let's go ahead and jump in because I've got lots of new goodies to play with. My cowlick back here, I have multiple cowlicks, but this one right here cannot decide whether it wants to go this way or that way. So we're just gonna have to ignore that. All right, I don't have anything new for corrector, so I'm just gonna use my Clinique Airbrush Concealer. UPS is here. One of those UPS packages is the new Lancome foundation, but I haven't had a chance to try that yet, and I don't like to do first impressions on something that I know is gonna be so asked about. So stay tuned for that because I will be testing that out. And I also purchased the new Hourglass foundation this morning. So lots of new base product reviews coming up. Clinique did come out with a corrector version of their Even Better concealer that I love so much. He's so fierce. And I am getting that. I just don't have it yet. So stay tuned for that as well. Lots of new stuff that I'm interested in. All right, let's talk about foundation. This is one of the fails. I got the new Makeup Revolution IRL filter, so in real life filter, long wear foundation, breathable, soft, matte. I got the color F6, which the color was way too light for me anyways, but I fixed that with like cream bronzer and I made it work. The color ended up being fine. It was the wear that I didn't like about this. When I first applied it, I was like, oh wow, this is gorgeous. Like it was what it said it was, a soft matte. And it looked really good for the first few hours, but then it started really wearing bad around my nose. Like by the end of the day, and I wasn't even like wiping at my nose or anything, but by the end of the day, it almost was like completely off from the tip of my nose. It was really wearing off on the side, on my chin. It just didn't look the best. And for me, even if it's a drugstore foundation, I want it to last, right? I feel like we all do. I'm not someone, and I've said this so many times before, but I'm not someone who wears a foundation for like 4 or 5 hours. I wear it for 12 to 16 hours. I have it on all day long if I'm gonna wear makeup. So I really need it to last, and this one just didn't. So luckily it was drugstore, so I'm not out a ton of money. I've heard other people have loved it, but it just did not work out for me and my skin. So today I'm going to pull out an old favorite that I haven't used in quite some time. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation, and I'm in the shade 315N. And I have on the new Sente SPF today. It's tinted, but it has little to no coverage, at least in the shade that I got, which was light medium. I also just ordered the medium dark to see if it was something that would, give like a little bit of a bronze glow. So I'll be sure to let y'all know on that as well. But the actual SPF I have been enjoying. So I will link that down below like I do with all my SPFs that I have on in every video. So that is exactly what it says it is. It's a luminous foundation, but it's not overly radiant. I don't feel like it's too luminous on me. It wears really well. I have liked it for a long time. I feel like it's a good, like, easy reach foundation. Now, the concealer is going to be, I feel like this is going to push a little bit of buttons because this is a new concealer that has come out. And I got it because everybody was commenting on my videos about how fabulous it was. Every review I said was like how fabulous it was. It's gonna knock all your other concealers out of the park. So of course I bought it because I was like, I need to see what all the hype is about. And in true Mandy fashion, because this happens more often than not, things that seem to work so well for almost everybody else does not work well for me. Now, I know personally, sometimes I can feel personally attacked if someone does not like something that I know works so well for me. That's not what this is. It just didn't work for me. And it's the new Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. I don't know why, but I've tried it with different eye creams. I've tried it with different correctors. I've tried it by itself. I've tried it with different powders. I have given this every chance possible to work under my eyes, and it ages them 15 years. I have no idea why, but it does. So unfortunately, this is a fail for me, and I hate that because I know so many people love it, but for some reason my under eyes did not. Now, what my under eyes have been loving lately, and this is something that I tried in a Playing with New Makeup video a few months ago, and I kind of put it off. I didn't like it. I was like, no, it was a first impression. It wore okay, but it just wasn't something that I liked at that time. I felt like the color was a little too dark. I felt like it was too luminous, and it's the Say concealer. But my eyes have needed this lately. They have been very dry for some reason. I have no idea why. And I pulled this out one day when I knew I wasn't going anywhere, because I was like, well, let's just see. And I ended up loving it. Now, it is still a little dark. So what I've been doing is I have this little mini of the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Concealer. So what I've been doing is taking the Say, which this is in the shade HB3. Okay, and I'm putting more than I would another concealer because this is just so forgiving. And then I take the Hourglass and I put 2 little tiny dots, because what this does is it helps brighten up the color. But having that Say be the first thing that touches my under eyes, well, at least other than the Clinique corrector, helps it stay super hydrated throughout the day, and it wears beautifully. Like this, look, y'all, I'm human. I try things, I don't like it. I end up loving them. I try things, I love them. I end up not liking them. Things change. And this is one of those things that my initial reaction definitely has changed for the better. The Say is luminous and it doesn't have a ton of coverage, but I have really just gotten to a point in my life where I am sacrificing coverage for wear. Like I need it to wear nicely and not crack and crease and make my under eyes more dry. And so if that means I have to have a little bit less coverage, so be it. All right, let's let that sink in and let's go on to the eyeshadow palette that I have been loving lately. And it's definitely the newest one in my collection. And it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau palette. I feel like pretty much everybody has been loving this. If you have not seen it, these are the colors. I will swatch them in a cutaway. Beautiful shades, really soft shades. You've got that, you know, purple pop, and you've got the one dark brown shade, but the rest are just soft. The Peacock is a little bit of a pop of green, but they still translate very almost gentle on the eyes. And I have been loving that. No matter what look that I have done, with this palette, I feel like I always start out with Floor, this lighter kind of warm shade, and put that in the crease. These do have quite a bit of kick up. I find that to be the case with all Anastasia shadows. I don't mind kick up as long as the fallout isn't really bad, and the fallout is not bad as long as you tap your brush off. I'm gonna go into Wings, which is this really pretty shimmery green shade. This is very similar to a look that I did in one of my videos, but I can't remember which one it was. And I'm just gonna put that on my lid. It's green, but it kind of comes off a little silvery on the lid. I'm gonna take a little bit on my finger and really amp up that shade, and that's gonna make it look more green. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of this Liberty color, which is a matte, kind of mossy shade, and I'm gonna mix it in with Metro. So these 2 shades right here. And I'm just gonna darken up the outer corner a little bit. Same technique I use very often, different shades and formulas. And I can attest to these shades and formulas being so good. And I'm gonna go into Muse, this darkest color. And this is very similar to the like cream to powder shadows in the Natasha Denona palette. It's got that texture to it, which makes it such a good liner. You can see the pigment when I put that on the lash line. I think if you wanted like a super smoky look, I would put this all over, like really pack it on the lid. It would be very easy to not only apply, but also blend out because of the formula. And then I would take one of these really pretty, like the green shade or this lily shade right here, one of the ones that has higher sparkle, and just kind of pop it in the center of the lid. It would be so pretty. So another thing that I have had to switch up a little bit since using the Say concealer is the powder that I use to set it, because my Rare Beauty powder has a little bit of a light reflecting property to it. adding that onto something that has light reflecting properties to it like this concealer is too much luminosity for me. So I pulled out my little tiny sample of the Ilia Soft Focus powder, and I've been using that with this concealer, and I really like it. See what I mean when I say like I compromise some coverage? I can still see some darkness, but because this wears so nicely, I just can't bring myself to care with how bad some of my other concealers were looking. And I'm hoping it's just like a phase in my under eyes, but right now this is what's working for me. Now, powder. I got this new powder that I had never heard of from Sephora. I was searching the app, as one does late at night, and I just put in powder because I was like, I want to see if I can find a new one. And this came up as one of the highest rated. And this is from a brand called Fashion Fair. Set It Loose powder. So this is what it looks like. I'd never heard of this before. This is $34. It comes in 6 shades. I got translucent, and it says the finish is matte for all skin types. I've only used it a couple times. It was not matte on me. So I'm gonna give it one more try. Just got the standard, and this is it. That's the translucent shade. So it still has, it's kind of like the Laura Mercier, where the translucent still has a little bit of a tint to it. And I'm just going to press that in. Now it does definitely mattify right after you apply it. I feel like I remember it really getting kind of shiny throughout the day, but I'll write down in the description box underneath this product how I felt like it wore today with this foundation. This is talc based, so I know there are a lot of people who don't want to use talc in their powders. I don't have an issue with talc. I do have a newer powder that I haven't tried yet that is talc free, so stay tuned for that. But I do feel like it's important for me to mention that this is talc based. It's the very first ingredient. Okay, for bronzer, I got the new Chanel Le Beige Oversized Healthy Glow Sun-Kissed Powder. I got the shade medium. So oversized it is, comes in this very large pan. This has 15 grams, so half an ounce of product. And it has a really pretty quilted pattern on it, but I have used this quite a lot, so it's starting to flatten that out. I love this stuff. It is a little deceiving in the pan because it doesn't look as glowy as I feel like it translates on the skin, but it's also not like shimmery on the skin. It just gives a healthy glow to the face. And I really like this shade medium. I feel like it works perfect. And again, it just gives like a fresh look to the skin. So A++ on this. I really, really like it. Highlight. I was at the mall. Audrey Kate's birthday was here, and her and her friends wanted to go to the mall. So I spent a whole day at the mall. It'd been a long time since I'd been there. I had to pick up something at a MAC counter for a job that I was doing, and Clinique was right across, and they were having a 30% off sale, which I'd already filled a cart because I wanted to, stock up on my concealer that I love so much, but I hadn't gotten it yet. So I was like, let me just get it here. Well, I was looking around and I saw this All About Shadow Super Shimmer Single, and this is in the shade Sunset Glow. And I was like, ooh, I want that because that looks so pretty. I swatched the tester. It looked really pretty as an eyeshadow, and I do like it as an eyeshadow, but I also really love it as a highlight. And y'all know, and if you don't, I often use eyeshadows as highlight. The Jane Iredale Allure is one of my very favorite highlights of all time. But this is so pretty. It just gives that really pretty sunset glow to the face. That side's a little much. I'll buff it out, but I just really like it. I like it for both highlight and eyeshadow. I like to travel with these kinds of products for both because it's one less product I have to pack. Let's talk about blush, y'all. I love this blush. This is the new RMS Beauty Hydra Powder Blush. I got the shade Pomegranate Fizz, which is just so pretty. Oh, it's just so pretty. The reflect on this, the glow that it has. I wore this, actually it was the first day that I wore this, and I was at the pharmacy in line, and this woman, I was in the pickup line, and this woman was in the consultation line, and I could feel like I could see her looking at me in my peripheral vision. Kind of made me a little uncomfortable because I was like, do I have something on my face? I was by myself, so I couldn't ask anybody else. And then she finally came up to me and she was like, I just have to say, your blush is beautiful. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I honestly can say I have never had that compliment. I like your makeup today, your skin looks great. I've had all that, but I've never had something specific about blush until I wore this and went to the pharmacy. And that is what I had on, and I just love it. It gives such a pretty sheen to the cheeks without being too much, and the color is beautiful. I really want to add more of these to my collection. Thumbs up to this. I can say this is sturdy. It just flew off my desk and hit the floor and did not break. So that's another thing I can say on the plus side of this. I'm gonna take Metro right here and put that under my eyes. Okay, I didn't have a new mascara, so I just used my Chanel Volume de Chanel. For lips, Urban Decay came out with a new Vice Lip Bond 16-hour color, and they sent me 3 of these shades. So this is basically a liquid lipstick. It does say to shake. Can you hear it? There's like a little something in there. For 5 seconds before you use this, which I do feel like is gonna be pretty important. So let me swatch the 3 colors they sent. This is the packaging. I feel like it's really cool. I love how the top alludes to the color that's inside versus having them all be the same and having to look at the name. Okay, so these are the 3 colors they sent me. There's Pleased right here, which is like a warm brown. In the middle, there's more of a berry shade, and it's called PDA. And then this nude pink is called Cuffed Up. I feel like we're having a little bit of a NARS vibe with these names. Now, I put the pink on right when I got it because I was like, oh, this looks right up my alley. I'm gonna use this Pleased shade, kind of the warmer brown. And it was like later at night. I had just gotten my mail, opened it, put the pink shade on, hopped in the shower, got out, I was about to wash my face. I looked at my lips and I was like, ooh. I didn't put anything else on with them, and it looked really dry. Now, to be fair, liquid lipsticks typically do on me. This goes on really well. I like the doe foot because it's a little bit more pointed at the end, and it almost helps me like line my lips. I do like this color. It's a little peachier than I tend to go. Usually with nude lips, I like something more pink. And I did really like the color of Cuffed Up. I just didn't love how it looked by itself because I tend to have wrinkly lips, and that's why I love gloss so much. So what I'm gonna do today is put on a gloss on top. This is the Wayne Goss gloss in Tulip that I use all the time. And I will put down in the description box how it wore under a gloss, because this is how I would wear it anyways. So that's with the gloss on top. Still a little bit more peachy than I tend to go for, but I feel like it kind of works with this look. Now, before we finish up the video, I have to talk about a new fragrance. And this is the newest Mancera that I have added to my collection. Twisted Lily sent this over to me because they know how much I love Mancera. I will put a card for a Mancera video that I have, because if you have not heard about this house, it's definitely one to look at because I personally love it. And this is a newer release from the house. It was released in 2021. It's called Lovely Garden. The notes for this are cinnamon, blood mandarin, pink pepper, Turkish rose, orange blossom, tuberose. You had me at tuberose. Indonesian patchouli leaf, toffee, musk, incense, powdery notes, and ambergris. So this has been compared a lot to Velvet Vanilla, and I can see where that line could be determined. However, this is definitely different enough for me to think both could be in a collection and you would not overlap. Because I'm getting the cinnamon and the toffee. This is good. This reminds me of a little bit of a fragrance that Chad wears that I love so much, because it also has that toffee and cinnamon note or notes in it. So this is a little bit warmer than Velvet Vanilla. It's not as sweet in my opinion. I still think you'd be able to wear it all year round, but I do think it's gonna shine even more in the fall and winter. But I have been rocking this in the summer, and I love it. I love the bottle. I love this little flower on the side. So good. And just like all the other Mancera fragrances, they last forever on the skin. I will do 3 sprays of this and it will last me all day long. So definitely one to look into if those notes sounded like you liked it. If you know you like velvet vanilla and you want something just a tad bit different, you still have that tuberose, but that's not the main player in this for me. The main player are those warmer notes. A little bit of the patchouli, the toffee, the cinnamon, the pink pepper. That's what stands out to me in this, and it is indeed a lovely garden. Love it so much. So definitely wanted to talk about that. I will have everything listed and linked below. I do like how this look turned out. Honestly, I really like the eyes. I knew I would. I've done something very similar to this in the past, and the lip is growing on me for sure. So everything will be linked below. Be sure and check that out. If you're interested in any of these products, they are affiliate links. Most of them. Thank you for using those. If you choose to support my channel, let me know if you have any questions, and I will be back in a few short days with another video. So be sure you like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on that. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.